Welcome to Rick's Corner. I woke up this morning and I looked out the window and I said, here in California, another day in paradise. 73 degrees, sunny, you can't beat it. This type of weather I could have all year long. Yeah, the subject today I want to talk about is spot reducing and abs. I've done abs I don't know how many times, but spot reducing we've never really touched on. And I've had people approach me over the years in the gym, especially women and men alone. They say, how can I spot reduce a part of my body? For example, women want to reduce this piece in their thighs. Men have the lower belly fat. Hanging pecs have a little bit of fat on them. And what I tell people is you can't spot reduce. It's just not going to work. You can work a muscle and shape it, and it can come to a certain shape. If you have fat over that muscle, it's not going to go away by working it harder and harder. It's the same thing with abs, and I've said this I don't know how many times. When I was around 16, I started doing sit-ups in the living room with my mom holding my feet. Every day, 100 reps, every day, 100 reps. And my abs started to develop. Now, I was only probably 145 pounds, so they showed. I mean, they showed that I was working them. As time moved on, and I got heavier and heavier and bigger, and the more I worked my abs, the bigger they got. They got thick. On a shirt, someone says, are you fat? No, I'm not fat. It's my abs. You can see they're ripped, but they stick out. Now, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not doing GH. I'm not doing insulin. I'm a kid. And it's just the fact that the muscle grows. So I had talked to several people that said, look, I need to reduce my waist. I'm doing abs every day, and I'm working them hard and hard and hard. They're just not showing up. Well, what we have to realize is that the ab muscle is a muscle, and it grows. And sometimes genetically, it might grow bigger than other people. Genetically, it might not. Sometimes genetically, you may not even have abs. So you can work them and try to get the muscularity into them, but if you overwork them, they are going to get big, and they're going to make you look fat. And so in your mind, and you look in the mirror, you think, I'm not working them hard enough. I got to go back and work them harder. And then it's the same thing again. They get bigger, and you get depressed, and you think, oh my God, nothing's going to bring them out. So what I did for myself is I cut it down to 100 leg raises every other day, and that maintains them. The other part of that was diet. Now, it's the same thing with spot reducing. If you want to get rid of this little thing down here for you women, you really got to watch your diet. It's all it is. Now, I've been seeing people in the gyms over 50 years, and I see men and women in there, at least 10 or 20, in my same gym over here in North Hollywood Golds, that have never changed. They're doing their lunges, they're doing the treadmill, they're doing their cardio, they're doing the bike, they're doing a circuit workout, and they're fat, and it doesn't go away. And they have not reduced that body fat at all. Recently, a very good friend of mine, I'm not going to name her name, she was large in the hips, and she knew it, and she never used to be, and she was working out like crazy. She came back to the gym and made up her mind to still work out crazy hard, which she did, but she cut her diet down to like chicken and asparagus, and that was it. Now, that gets old and it gets boring, but it has results, and the results are less body fat. So you want to do what works for you. Yes, you're going to get sick of eating like that, but it's going to work. So once you get down to the point where you find this little stuff in here gone and the lower belly fat for the men, you'll say to yourself, you know what, this looks really good. I'm just going to stick on the diet. And then you can have a cheat day here and there, but you're not going to get rid of that extra fat, especially you guys older. You get this fat under the pecs and even in the arms. Skin sags as you get older. Unfortunately, it sags and it gets a little dimply. There's not a lot you can do about it. I used to see my mom and my sister, they had these fatty arms full of like cellulite, you know. What can I do to tighten this up? I said, you can only tighten up the muscle underneath it. That fat's not going to go away unless you change your diet from eating the french fries, the shakes, and the burgers. So I just wanted to touch on that a bit because so many of you ask me, how do I spot reduce? There's no such thing. You have to reduce all over. And the unfortunate thing about it, once you diet down to where you look, where you want to look, but you still have that little bit here, you got to diet even harder because that's the last thing to come off. Once you diet down to where it's right there and you take everything else, carbs out, it comes off. Now keep in mind that if you do that, when you go back to eating again, it's going to come back a little bit. It just does. It's unfortunate. It just does, especially if you get older. So keep it in check. Have your cheat day once in a while and go back on your diet. And when you see the results in the mirror, you're going to say, you know, I look pretty darn good. And I got it from watching what I eat. Your workouts are intense. You're doing all you can do there. Your homework is at home. You're only in the gym an hour. You got another 23 hours at home to figure out what to do with your eating. So that's my tip on that. I think it works for almost everybody I've ever talked to, but you got to stay with it. You can get liposuction. I've seen people do that. The trouble with that, it does remove the fat cells, but then you get fat somewhere else because the fat's got to go somewhere. Actually, fat cells don't go away. they just shrink down. They get smaller and smaller when you diet. And then when you eat again, they fill out again. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. I got more coming up, and I got more guests coming up this week. I've got Neil Rosbach, who's a trainer, but he used to be a Chippendales dancer. He's trained hard for years. He trains celebrities, and we're going to talk, I think, tomorrow, which will be a lot of fun. I'm having Noella Downs back. I've got other people lined up. When I don't have anybody lined up, I come and talk to you one-on-one because I enjoy that almost more than anything. All right, watch my thing about eggs, because it's not the egg whites anymore. It's the whole egg. It has been the whole egg since day one. I went to my cardiologist yesterday and I said, look, I eat six eggs a day, all eggs. And he checked my cholesterol and I was perfect. There was no fat. And I said, the eggs don't make you fat and they don't raise your cholesterol. In fact, if anything, the yolk itself has lecithin and it burns out the fat and cholesterol. He says, and this is a cardiologist, top notch, Beverly Hills. He says, you're absolutely right. This bill of goods about egg whites over and over doesn't mean a thing. It's just a trend. I don't know why I'm sharing that with you, because I do want to, and I want you to know the right thing. Stay tuned for more Rick's Corner, and we'll see you next time. And be sure, I have my logo on there that I draw personalized for people. And if you want to order one, I'll autograph it to you at $75. Put it on your wall and mount it as a piece of art history from Mecca of bodybuilding, because it will never be duplicated again, and I'm the one to do it. Thanks so much. See you next time.
RickDrasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.